ready for this because I've had a few ideas spinning around that I'll be talking about later on. If you're here already, I'm just going to check here to see that I've got my page up because I can't see everything on there. What I want you to do is in the chat room today, right? It would be great if you could let me know where you are. That's all I want to know. Where are you watching this from? Where are you coming from? And let's have a chat and see where we are. Right, I can hear myself in the background. I best turn that down. So who is in the chat room? Is there anybody in there yet? Just check in, say hello. First things first, as always, the Substack newsletter went out today. If you don't know what that is, basically, it's just a weekly email that lets you know what videos went out last week, what blogs I did last week, so that you can just catch up and keep on top of what's happening, because you don't always see everything. I know there are some people in the chat room. Let me have a look, see who's about. Andy, I know you're in the Rhondda Valley because you told me last week. Hi, Chris. How are you? Good to see you. It's nice to see early people coming into the chat room. It's always nice. So I know that I'm not sitting here on my own, just talking to myself, really. I did a post in the week. Hi, David. And Canada, we get a few people from Canada watching the channel, and I'm really grateful for that. It's really nice. I did a post in the week on the community posts, and I was talking about books, and I talked about my favorite book, and I asked you what were yours, and it was great that I got so many answers. Thank you very much to everybody who did that. If you're watching this on the replay, I'm just talking to you as well. Don't forget, if you're watching this on the replay, go down into the comments section and let me know who you are and where you're coming from. Sounds like I'm on a telly program, doesn't it? Just asking you those questions. So we have 8 people watching at the moment, early doors, and it's nice to see that you're here. Feel free to go into the chat room, just say hello to each other, and let's have a chat, because it's always good to do that. What have you been up to this week? Andy, you might have moved, but I think I may have known that if you'd have been moving last week, because you'd have said it. You'd been all excited. Got a bit on this week. Couple of days I've got... Hi, Steve. How are you? Good to see Steve joining us. I've got doctor's appointments tomorrow. I've got an ultrasound on Thursday. So hopefully by the end of this week, we might be working into some direction that will let me know what the hell has been going on, because it's been a bit cack of late, as I'm sure you already know, because I've moaned about it once or twice before now. Mark Aldous, hello, you're down the road in Girton. You're not that far from me then. What, 10 minutes away? Good to have you in the chat room with us. We've been talking a lot about music on this channel lately, and I've had some ideas, and I want to ask you what you think of them. I asked you the other week if you wanted me to do a video about the music I'm listening to at the minute. And I did say that I would do a video talking about the stuff in these shelves. And I don't know about you, but I watch a lot of different channels on here, and I've been watching what they're talking about, their videos. I've had a week basically thinking about this and looking at different people and what they talk about. And I don't want to be one of those channels that just goes, grabs a thing and says, that's this one, and then go back and get another one. I want to talk about them, but I don't want to talk about them in the way that they would if you bought a book and it says the 1,000 records you need to hear, where they talk about the ins and outs of the songs and all that. Because to me, music is a bit like a feeling. I think of my old records, when I open a box of records and look at them, it's like I'm meeting some old friends, because they all carry memories with them. And I want to talk about music in such a way that it's not about just because I've got it. I want to tell you why I've got it, where I bought it, the memory that goes alongside it, because I find that all the time. If you read my blog at all, you will know that I go out in the car and I'll hear a song and I'll talk about where I heard it and the memories that it brings back. And they're the kinds of things that I want to talk about in these videos. Does that sound like sense to you? Does that seem like something you'd want to hear? Because I watch so many who just pull out a CD, they'll pick it up, show you it like that, tell you what it is, and then pull out the next one. And then there's no real idea as to why I like it. What I will say straight off, I'm a Pop-Tart. I am definitely a Pop-Tart. Hello, Jonathan. Welcome to the room. I'm not a rock freak. I don't go after all of the biggest stars or anything like that. My collection, I had a big collection when I was younger, before I lost my business in the 90s. And that had tons and tons of stuff because I was collecting for collecting's sake, if you like. Now I tend to buy just stuff that I want for a certain reason. I don't buy everything I see. I could go. I'm a second-hand record buyer. I'll put that on the line. I've got a few new ones these days, but they're so expensive. I don't believe in spending 30 quid on an album if I can help it. But I'm buying second-hand, and there is so much out there second-hand that I don't want to buy just to fill a rack up. I actually want records that I'm going to play, because I've said it over the last few months on here that the music that I've got up there, I rarely play them on the record deck that I've got there, because I tend to listen to everything off the computer these days. And what I wanted to do, and what I'm thinking about doing, is at some day doing a cull on it. They are indeed, Jonathan. I've got a little box set of an album by someone called Thundercat called Drunk. And instead of it being an album, it came on 4 10-inch red vinyl. It's a box set. And I've got that. And you'll see that at some stage in one of the videos that I've got coming along. That's my thinking on it. I want to do... I'm not a completist at all. I don't... Well, I say that. You all know I've got the Beatles albums. I've got all of the studio albums. But I never bought the anthology albums, for instance. And I don't buy albums with all of the different mixes and the different takes on it, purely because the best one was on the original album. The other ones that they're putting out and trying to flog you off, to me personally, are not as good, because if they was as good, they'd been on the album in the first place. That's my kind of thing. Do I go to record fairs? Do you know what? I've not been to one for years. Back in the late 80s, when I lived in Bedford, then I used to go to a record fair in the town centre regularly, and I bought some fantastic stuff there. I bought a few box sets, you know, like the Atlantic record label. They did a box set of the best of, if you like, from 1947 to 1976 of their soul stuff, and I bought things like that. I've bought some great stuff at record fairs over the years, but like most things, they're getting dearer and dearer. Who else have we got in here? James, yes, definitely. There's some real pop disasters in there. Hi from Quebec. I can't Frank. I'm not even going to try and say your name. I'm going to call you Fran, all right? Frank guy. There is so much stuff out there that's still available. Secondhand stuff to me is the stuff that I really like. I love to go through a thing. I go crate digging and go through and find something that I haven't seen in years. I absolutely love that. I'm glad you like the channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. I'm going to try and do some different things in it. I want to have a change round, because I feel the station's going a bit stale at the moment, the channel, and I want to give it a bit of a kick, if you like. And so I'm going to be trying to do some different things. There are going to be some music videos. There are going to be videos about films and DVDs and all that sort of stuff. I've got some ideas that I want to put forward. I'm still going to do the self-help stuff, the encouraging and advice things. They'll still always be part of the channel, but I just kind of want to split it up a bit and talk about a few different things for a while. Mainly because I've just got a bug. I don't know why. I've just got this bug to start playing these things again and talking about them. I've watched some great channels lately. There's one that I would recommend if you like the Beatles and you like 60s stuff. There's a guy called Parlogram, and he is absolutely brilliant. I watched a video of his today about the Petula Clark record Downtown, and it's about 15 minutes long, and it's got packed full of stuff, and it's a really interesting watch. And I'd kind of like to start making some videos that are a bit more than me just talking to you. So chucking a few videos in and a bit of music and whatever to give you something different to watch, if you like. And what I'm going to do is to start to do series of videos. For instance, what's on my shelf. I'm not going to do all of these in one go. I'll probably do 10, 20 at a time. And so there'll be a one, and then there'll be a follow-up one, and there'll all be a little series of them, so that if you want to binge on them, you can, and you know where to find them. There'll be a playlist with all of them in. It's basically just trying to make the channel a bit more interesting for you guys, to give you something else to watch, and maybe things that are draw you in and make you a bit more interested in the things I talk about. I know the stuff I talk about is self-help a lot of the time, and I love all of that stuff. And unfortunately, it's dropped off a bit lately. People don't seem as interested as they were. And so rather than go down a road where I probably need to do something that's slightly different, I'm going to have some other things so we can have a swap about and do a bit of each. Right, let me catch up with the chat room. Who else is in there? Favorite promotional video, Bowie's Ashes to Ashes. That was a weird one, wasn't it? It's the one where he was dressed as what's it called? Piero the clown. And it was like on a beach, if I can remember. It's a long time since I've seen that. Funnily enough, I'm not a massive lover of promo videos. And why I always said that was that you listen to music with your ears and not your eyes. And I think when the Buggles did Video Killed the Radio Star, they really did change things, because I think music became something where it's more about what you see than what you hear. And I kind of don't like that. I'd like to listen to music, headphones on, eyes shut, and just sit back and listen and see how good it is. That's the way I love to do music. And somehow the visuals change it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it changes it. Yes, Steve, that's basically it. So there'll be something that if you like one thing, that's the way we'll go. Do you know what I mean? So it's raining in Scarborough. It's been I found it a bit mild out here today. It's grey, don't get me wrong, but it's mild. It's not too bad. What else? This week, I've not really got tons to talk about, so it's really going to be down to you. You guys can direct the conversation this evening, because it's good when you do that anyway. We talk about all sorts of things. I've been watching videos. I've been hooked. It's really weird. Ages ago, about 6 years ago, my wife came back. She'd been in a charity shop and brought me back the complete series of ER. At the time, I think it was about 15 series. And slowly, slowly we've watched the series and got through it. We're now on we've started series 8, which we binged this week, and it was really, really good. Did I watch the flawless cleaning video on Friday? No, Andy, I didn't. Is that the live one you were telling me about? It's probably something I'll check on next week. I did last week check a few. So where did I wrote some in one of my 90 million books that I've got round here. I did write down some other channels that I was looking at that I wanted to talk to you about. No, Jonathan, I don't want to go down that road, to be honest with you. More adult podcast and relationships. No, it's not me. I like what I like. I certainly don't know enough to talk about relationships and all that sort of stuff. And I certainly don't want to talk about it and have people asking questions about their relationships, because I ain't that guy. So I won't be, I'm sorry, but I will not be going down that road. I'm the type of guy that likes the kind of stuff we talk about on here, to be honest with you. Oh, it premieres on a Friday. I'll just have to watch it. I'll watch it on a normal one. Jeremy Kyle, I don't think so. For starters, I don't have room in here for people to come and for me to interview, do I? And to be honest, I think I'd be awful at that kind of thing, don't you? Hello, Nick. How are you? Where are you, Nick? I'm just asking everybody in the room tonight to let me know where you come from, so I can start actually adding to my little map. Because I do have a map that I've been keeping of where people live, because I just want to see who sort of comes in and shares a bit of time with us, if you like. Hi, OJ. I've actually, Andy, the problem that I've got a map that I could do. I've been saving, I've been keeping it on here. But the problem with the live stream is until I get the camera I bought to go online to be the webcam, every time we plug it in, my internet is so bad, we've lost the live stream 3 or 4 times, and it's been a real pain. So I've gone back to using my phone. But the problem with using the phone is that it shows everything backwards. And I can't change that round for some reason. It doesn't. YouTube, if they had a little switch in the edit studio where you could mirror it so it turned it the other way, it would be fine, but they don't. And so I can't really use the map on this kind of thing. Print a backwards map. I'm not that clever, Andy. I'm not that clever. Can you do that sort of thing? Hunt the live stream. It was a bit like that, wasn't it, Chris? What really annoyed me is that I could start it and it would go for 6 minutes and then it'd cut out, and then go for another 18 minutes and cut out, and it was a pain. I'm using the data off of my phone at the moment, and that seems to work. Actually, come to think of it, Andy, you're probably right. I could do it. I've got some software. I'll have to try it in the week. If I do manage to print it out the wrong way around, then what I'll do is I'll get a map and I'll show you when it comes to it on the live stream. Then you can see where the maps are. I keep 3 maps. There's a worldwide map, there's an America and Canada map, and there's a UK map, because I like to see because obviously the majority of the channel's viewers are in the UK and America and Canada. There's no doubt about that. And I'll try and do that this week. No, I can't play the piano, I'm afraid. I'm not musically inclined. I certainly can't read music. I don't play any instruments, which is a shame. My brother and my niece are both guitarists. Debs's brothers are in bands and all that sort of thing, very musical. But I can't sing either. I've got an awful singing voice, which is why I was a DJ, because I just know how to press the buttons and make the records play. I can do that, but being an actual artiste of some sort, nah, that's not me. I'm just not good enough. They're actually a pin with a little red top on, Chris, to be honest with you. No 5 a.m. dedicated Australians, Andy. No, not at all. Hi, Deb. Nice to see you here. Did I have the cheesy DJ patter over the mic? No, I hated that. I would fill in as little as I possibly could, just giving you a little bit of this and that. I used to get lots of requests on our shows, and so they tended to, I'd talk about who the request was for, like a general request show, to be honest with you. I didn't like the cheesy stuff. It's that long ago now. Do you know what? That Peter Kay routine is brilliant. I know. I wasn't. I always felt, and this proves it. I find YouTube proves it. I didn't think that when I was doing radio, people would tell me, I used to get these things saying, I'm great at this and I do this and I'm really good DJ. And it was all rubbish, because the things that were important was the music that I played. That's what kept people there. Because I figured that if I talked for 2 hours non-stop for a radio show, no one would come. If I did it on here, everybody would be gone before the 2 hours was up. I would think it's more about the music with radio than it certainly was about me talking. Drunk Guests at the Wedding, that was a brilliant. I've got that on DVD downstairs, funnily enough. I haven't watched it for a while. It's always good fun. I did do a thing on my radio show called Slip of the Lip, and it was inspired by Deb's, because we had we were talking one day, and I started to sing a song called Jack in the Box by The Moments, and it was on about Jack jumped out of the box, the bears came home and caught Goldilocks. And Deb said, is that the real words then? Because she said that instead of saying the bears came home and caught Goldilocks, she used to sing the bears came home with Cockle Deluxe, whatever that is. And so it inspired me to have this radio show. And my favourite slip of the lip of all was a Madonna song, and it was Like a Virgin, touched for the 31st time. That was a good one. Or that Beatles hit Gay Stripper. That was a good one. There was lots of slips of the list that I had, and that was an enjoyable part of the show. I used to get people writing in and telling me all of that sort of thing. Right, let's see what we got here. When did you... Right. Project Weaver, hello. Welcome to the chat room. So far this evening, we've talked about the newsletter. We've talked about the book post that I did the other day. We've talked about music videos that I'm going to be doing in the future. And we've talked about me and the doctor and all that sort of rubbish. So if you missed all that, you can either give it a miss, or you can check out on the replay, which will be up soon. But what I found out, is that when it goes out straight after the live stream, you don't get the chat room. You have to wait till the next day for the chat room to come back up. And I think it's more interesting to watch it with the chat room, because you can see what everyone else was saying. We're Monday dozen now, are we? We're the Monday 11 on the Monday meetup. I did have a start doing my first live streams on a Wednesday, and I called it the Wednesday Waffle because I'm pretty good at that. But I couldn't find something that would go down as well as that. See, Andy, it's your fault. To be honest, it goes up and down all the time. People come on and realise it's me, and then they go. So, what else? I had family round yesterday. It was Deb's birthday, the Monday Mumble. Yeah, could be, couldn't it? The Monday Mumble. No, I think the meetup is better. We had family round yesterday because it was Deb's birthday the other day. And God, it was noisy in here. We had 14 people in here yesterday, ranging from us as the oldies down to a 3-month-old baby. It was lovely. Nice to see kids and all that. So that was what we did yesterday. But that actually shattered me. I laid up the set after they all went. I was supposed to go and watch a live stream last night and didn't make it because I was so shattered after everybody had been here. And we'd watched Toy Story, and we'd watched Robin Hood, and we'd watched The Jungle. So obviously you can tell that we had a few little ones here as well. So that was yesterday's day. And today's been quite calm, if you like, calm and relaxed. Do I consider myself more of an extrovert or an introvert? Do you know what? Because I've got to know you guys over a period of time, it may seem as though I'm an extrovert. However, if we go out and I'm in a group of people, I'm usually the one that stands on the outside while someone's in the middle, chatting away, and not everybody's contributing. And I'm generally, I don't know whether I'm extrovert or introvert. I should be extrovert due to the fact that I come from a fairground family. I used to have to get on a microphone when I was a kid, calling bingo numbers and chatting to all of the people who came in the bingo. So I should be more outgoing than I actually am. But I'm not. I spend a lot of the time on my own. And I like my own company. I didn't used to. I had to go into my own skin before I liked that. But I kind of like my own company, and I can do what I do. I think big groups of people do drain me, to be honest. If I'm in a crowd, I'm not the life and soul, if you like, and I find them tiring. But I know we'll put a caveat on that. The fact that I've been ill for the last couple of months doesn't help, and that drains me as well. But I don't know whether I'm outgoing or not, to be honest with you. I'm good like this. I think if all of you in the chat room, because you've been coming week on week, we've got to know each other. And so if we met in a pub or in a coffee house or something, I could chat like I am now. I would do that because you seem to get on with me. Otherwise you wouldn't be here, would you? I'm very dependent on the company. Company has a great deal to do with it as well. I suppose it also depends on what situation you're in. I've been in a business situation. I've been at meetings and things, and I'm not scared to get up and say something or ask questions at things like that, because it's not about me. It's more about the other stuff. I hope I'm explaining this properly. I'm not really sure that I am. You don't like group rides. See, it was you, Chris, who said about a meetup last week. It's all right. I'm just reading, just checking up, seeing what you're all having to say. So no, I don't know. You tell me. Do you think I'm extrovert, or do you think I'm introvert? That would be an interesting one. I can give you another example. I went to my niece's wedding at the end of September, and there were, I don't know, 150 people there, but I kind of kept to my sister, my nephew, my nieces, a little group of us. I wasn't very good at mingling with loads of other people. The people that I knew, I didn't know tons of people there because my niece had organised the wedding as herself, and there were a lot of her friends and workmates and that. So there wasn't a ton of people that I knew there in the first place. The people that I knew there were a small amount of family, to be honest. I didn't know this. Funnily enough, Andy, when I was at school, we had a debating society. It wasn't that you joined it, it was that something that you had to do. And there was this oval room with chairs that stacked up. Not chairs, it was like being in an auditorium, if you like. And the teacher would pick two people for each side, and you would have a week to go away and debate and work out your side of a debate. The subject would be given to you and you would be put on one side or the other. Then you would come back a following week and debate your side of it. And I was probably about 14 then. And so I kind of got used to speaking to people in that environment that I don't feel uncomfortable with because I did it when I was young. The only time that was really awkward is that we did it once where they had two bags with sheets of paper in, with everybody's name in one and a subject in the other. And they'd pull your name out, and I only got pulled out on it once, and my name came out. And then when I walked down the front, I had to pick a subject out, and the subject I picked out was butterflies. And I had to talk about butterflies for a minute off the cuff. That was like the longest minute of my life. So it was really hard. But I can speak in that sort of occasion much better than I could if I was in a just normal conversation with someone who I didn't really know. Thanks, Chasey. Quick hi and bye. We'll stay at the end. Okay, you're going to be a lurker, are you, Chasey? Okay, fair enough. Cristiano, how are you? No hesitation, repetition, or deviation. Well, as you can tell on here, I hesitate a lot when I'm trying to think of what I need to say. I repeat myself over and over again, and I deviate from what I was planning to talk about into things that I wasn't planning to talk about. So, by that value system, Andy, I'm not very good, am I? Right. We are 35 minutes in. For just a minute. Do you know what? I've never heard that. It's surprising for someone who, when I was growing up, loved radio. I don't particularly listen to them a lot now. I probably, radio-wise, listen to about an hour each day. Generally, when I'm having a cup of tea and getting up in the morning, I make a cup of tea for Debs, and we'll sit and I'll put the radio on, and we listen, as anyone of my age should do, to Boom Radio in the UK, a Boomers channel. Nicholas Parsons, eh? Sale of the century, that's what I think of him as. So what was just a minute about? indulge me. What was it about? Because I don't know. I never heard it. Okay. Did they have a subject to talk about, or did they just chat? I really don't know. You'll have to tell me. Story reminded me. Oh, right. Okay. That is surprising. It's much harder than you think. But those guys that you're talking about should be really good. Steve listens to Planet Rock. Yeah, you are much more rock orientated than I am, Steve. Although I do listen to rock, it's not my thing. I'm, as I've often said, I'm a bit of a pop tart. £4. Okay. So I take it then everybody on there is pretty well clued up and really quick-witted in order to be able to do that. Is it still on now? I'm sorry, I keep looking over there when I wanted to talk to you there. I'm reading there, talking to you there. Don't forget, if you're checking us out on the replay tomorrow, you're more than welcome to leave a comment down below. I do read all the comments. I try and answer as many as I can. I don't miss too many out, I don't think. All right, it is still going then. I take it it's a Radio 4 production, is it? I'm now waiting because... that's it. Right. Oh, now I know. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to... Is it the sounds thing on BBC? And perhaps check it back and have a listen to it and see what it's like. Radio 4. I can remember hearing when I was at boarding school back in the 70s, mid-70s. I used to listen to a lot of radio then, and certainly listen. Hello, Deb. I thought I did say hello to you. Nice for you to be here. Hope you're all right. Hope everything's well in your part of Canada. I hope it's not too cold yet. It's very mild here at the moment. It's been raining today, but it's quite mild. Yeah, as I was saying, when I was at school, we used to, like at night time, you pull a blanket over your head and have a little radio and a one ear plug that you used to put in, and I'd listen to radio then. And they used to have little comedy sketch things with people like Tim Brooke Taylor on them and Peter Cook and things like that. And they were quite funny back at the time. But no, I haven't listened to radio that much for yonks. Well, it was easier for us, Andy, being in a boarding school. What happened? You had this great big long dormitory, and that it was sectioned off with a wall either side of you, a single bed, and a curtain across the end. So you'd walk down the hallway, and every bed had their own little section, so you could get away with putting a radio in your ear all of the night time and pretending to be asleep when you were supposed to. But back in them days, I used to listen to a lot of radio. We could just about get Radio Luxembourg sometimes, and it would drift in and out. Because I was in boarding school, it was 208 on medium wave, but my boarding school was in Bath in Somerset, although at the time it was in Avon. And we used to listen to a lot of radio on there of a night time. And Luxembourg was the one that we all wanted to try and listen to, because they still played the decent stuff, and radioing in Britain at night wasn't that great. So we brought a southern sound. The good old days of listening to radio. It's funny, isn't it? We got more radio available to us now than we ever did. I used to enjoy it when I could get a lot of American radio. I have a internet radio in my bedroom and downstairs in our kitchen. And at one time, you used to be able to listen to stations all over the world, and it was really good. But they've put a block on most of them now, so you can't listen to radio in other countries like you can. And American radio, for me, is brilliant. What was really odd about it as well is that when I was doing radio, I had 64 channels that my shows went out to in America. Not big ones, just normal, small channels in little towns. And I couldn't hear the station on any internet radio because of is it geo-locking, I think they called it, where you can't get into a station. And that was quite sad because it's weird that my shows went out in America in a lot of places, and yet I never got to hear them over there. I did get lots of requests though. A dedicated 208 button, wow. So, what have we got on this week? What are you up to this week? Like I said, I'll be doctoring it for a couple of the days and hospital thing on Thursday. But I've got to try and get a video out. I've got kind of an idea that will follow my positivity video last week. I've got a idea for a video to follow it up with for this week. And I'm going to try this week to start putting together some other videos, some music ones. But they're going to have a lot more work in it than these ones do, because I'm going to try and bring in different bits of B-roll footage and photos and all that sort of stuff and add them to the videos to make them slightly more interesting for you. See, I care about you guys. I know you must get totally bored with me on a regular basis when I just sit here chatting to you without anything to give you some interest into it, as we like. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. What are you up to, Steve? You're retired. I know you don't have a job to go to. So what are you doing this week? It's all quiet in the chat room. Now we have more people listening than we have in the chat room at the moment. So some of you need to log in and just say hello, share who you are, so everyone can say hello to you. Hello, John. I try to be as positive as I can. After all, if you read a newspaper or watch the news or you listen to talk shows, you're never in nothing positive there. So I kind of like to buck that trend if I possibly can and bring something that's a bit cheerier, if you like, or at least if I do delve into things that are negative, I try and give you a way of getting out of it if I can. Although I did watch today, I was watching today, going back through my earliest videos, and I found a great little rant about how big business treats us as customers. I was having a little moan and groan. It's quite funny to watch that one. What sort of articles are you writing then, Andy? Chris, see that? Repaired a leaking toilet. One of my jobs that I had to do the other day was getting some limestone scaling around the inside of the toilet. That was fun. Got that sorted. Off to the cinema. Christmas Karma. Haven't seen that one, Steve. Is that a new one out, is it? I don't keep up with it. It's one of the problems. Music equipment. Oh, that sounds interesting. Why do you not have a YouTube channel, Andy? I like to see things about music equipment. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, one of the funny things I talk about, as you know, back in August, I think it was, I turned off my Facebook, or I didn't turn it off. It's still there so that people can get hold of me by Messenger. But I haven't looked at my Facebook since August, and I don't watch the news, and I don't read papers and things, especially local ones. And so I miss out on so much. And so a film like Christmas Karma, I have never heard of. Andy Merritt, you need to let me know so I can come and check your channels out. I do like to check a channel out and see what's going on there. So, do you have one or not? And if you do, how about put it in the chat room so I can, when I look at the replay tomorrow, to see that I didn't miss anybody, that I can see where it is and go and have a look. Right. So, is there anything you would like me to make a video about? I'm not saying I can do it, but you're more than welcome to ask. And if I can, I will. Because it'd be nice to see what you want me to talk about. Because I'm obviously very good at telling you what I want to do. Is there anything that you would like to see on the channel? Because I am going to make some changes. I want to do some more nostalgia stuff. I used to do that. I remember back in the early days, I used to do things like what we watched on TV at Christmas and stuff like that. And the sweets we ate at Christmas. I think I did one about that. And the food we ate. I did all those sorts of novelty things back in the day. And I've not done it for ages. And thinking off the top of my head, if you join the newsletter, I may actually dip in and start posting some of those videos, the links to them, so you can go and have a look at them. And add like an extra video each week with one of the old ones about nostalgia and stuff, because we don't tend to do that so much. And at that stage, it is now 47 minutes, about 10 minutes left. So is there any questions that you'd like to ask me that you want answering? Because we're coming to the end. If not, we can have an early night and I can go and see my wife who's just got back from work and go and have something to eat, that kind of thing. But I'm here for at least another 10 minutes if you want to stay and if you want me to chat about anything else. So the chat room is open to you guys and we'll take it from there. What I will do, as I'm trying to fill up some room while I'm waiting for you, I told you last week I bought a book. I know it's backwards. It's Ant Middleton. He's on that, I think it's called SAS something or other. I haven't seen it. But I'm reading his life story at the minute, and some of the stuff that he overcame and the things that he learned from it are really good. And the video that I'm going to be making some stage this week has been brought up from the ideas that I got from this book. There's some really good stuff in there. And I think that at times like this, when it is a bit miserable and a bit grim, especially when the weather turns, I've got a sad light, one of them SAD lights up there. And I haven't had it out yet this year because I haven't been depressed enough. Sometimes what happens is I bought one a few years ago. And when I start to feel miserable in the winter as it gets darker and darker, I tend to get it out and it sits here on my desk and it's a real big bright light. And that lifts my spirit. I thought I was a bit skeptical about it, but it's really good. And I'm glad that I bought that. So, are we done with? Guys, come on. You got to talk to me because I don't know what you want me to talk about. We're getting towards the end of the evening. And it has gone quiet. It's gone very quiet. I thought you'd have gone to sleep or you're having something to eat. How about doing something on films like James Bond? Steve, do you know what? I have only just started watching James Bond films. I really don't have a lot of knowledge of James Bond films because I didn't really watch them as a kid growing up. I don't know why, but I have. I've started buying them as I look around charity shops. I watched. It's a bit of a jump, I know, but I watched one with Sean Connery, and the next one I watched was the first Daniel Craig one, and I thought that was really good. I enjoyed that, so I thought I'd start buying them in and putting them in different times. Satellite, but it had a normal bulb in it. You can have blue light, Andy, or a white light, but it's really, really bright. It sits on top of my shelf up there. It's about as big as that. And when you look at it at first, it really dazzles you. But the idea of it is that I can come in here and work. I put it down this side of me, and so it shines on the side of my face. And I didn't think it would ever be any good, but I was amazed at the difference it made over a few days. It only took a couple of days, and it helped me feel much better. I put it on for about an hour, and that done the job, to be honest. It's a great thing. When it gets miserable and dark, I don't like the winter when it gets dark and it's dark all day. And so I use that then more than anything. Now, I know I've seen bits of James Bond films, Chris. I've seen like bits of Goldfinger and Dr. No and all that sort of thing. But I don't think I've sat down and watched the complete movie. And so I've got to get into that. I've bought a few, so we're going to slowly watch them. But what I should do is go and see if I can get a box set, and just start and watch them through in the right order. Nick, have I ever gotten into gaming? Well, back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s, when we had arcades and that, we had video games in the arcade. And yes, I used to play them, but I kind of, in those days, they were more about us actually earning a living and getting some money on them. So I didn't spend a lot of time on them, with the exception of one game, which has just completely gone out of my head. Oh, God, I can't even remember it now, which I played over and over again. It's the Russian puzzle game. Tetris, that's it. It's come to me. Tetris. I played Tetris, and I couldn't work out why this Tetris machine we had in the arcade, it wasn't taking any money compared to all the others. And then my wife reminded me that it couldn't take any money if I spent all day playing on it. So, yeah, gaming is something that's been more akin to what I did for a living. So I don't play games online or via a PlayStation or whatever the up-to-date version of a PlayStation is, and I haven't done for years, because mostly gaming was to do with amusement arcades for me. Right. Oh, that must be lovely having that. I've got behind my monitor, as I'm looking there is a window within, I don't know, a foot and a bit, and it's got a blind here that I can see through. It's an aluminium blind with lots of little holes in it, so I can see through it, but it's never really overly bright. Even in the winter, in the summer, the sun comes round this side of our house at about 5 o'clock. So for most of the day, the sun's over that way, so I don't really get a great deal of the sun. Tetris is a great game, Andy. I find it very addictive. That's the word I was looking for. Addictive. I played it so often. Good game. Gaming's great, but I think it can take over your life a bit. I think my kids, we had to put kids on the strict limits of playing games when they were young. I did have this idea, right? My kids were behind everybody else because of the fact I'd left business in the 90s and we didn't have a lot of money. everyone had the PlayStation and whatever the other one of the time, and I'm talking about early 90s now, what they had, they never got one for years later. And I wasn't keen on my kids having games, because having an arcade, I can remember watching people come in the arcade and be so addicted to it that they was playing all day. And I didn't want my kids to become addicted to it. So my plan was to get them a PlayStation for one Christmas, and then get them a couple of controllers for the next Christmas, and then get them some games, and the following year get them an electric lead to go in it. So by the time they were about 15 or 16, they'd actually have it then. Cruel, I know, but what can I say? I used to, I was one of those tormenting dads that kids hate, you know. Do you remember when we all had the mobile phones, when they first sort of come out? And they were like blocks, weren't they? Great big things. And I can remember when my youngest son got to 16, he wanted a phone. So I said I'd get him a phone. Hi, Tammy. Nice to see you. Thanks, but hello. That's good enough for me. Yeah, we got him a phone for his 16th birthday, but we didn't give him the phone that we bought him. I packed and wrapped up one of my old great big horrible phones. Massive thing it was. And put it in a box, and he opened it, and it was the look of upsettedness on his face when he opened it and saw the phone. Then watching my 16-year-old child tried to act pleased that we'd got him a phone, and it was the worst phone in the world, some Nokia thing from about 1992. It was really funny watching it. And so, yeah, I'm a tormenting dad. We did eventually that day give him his proper phone, but we had to make it like as awkward as we can. I don't think it's cruel, Chris. I just think it's fun. I went to, you know, when they're at year 6 in their junior schools, they had when they're leaving to go to the secondary one, they'd have a week away at the end of the term, and I went as a parent helper. And when I went with my Henry, we went to the yeah, okay, funny, cruel. We went to this adventure camp, and one of the days it was raining really hard, so they tried to get something for her to do inside, and they had this 2 girls at the front of it. I'll never forget. I had a group of children. There was about 16 of them with me, and we went into this room, and these girls were doing basically dancing. They were playing hits of the time, things like Reach for the Stars. Was it Steps or S Club? I don't know. But they played Reach for the Stars, and they got all the kids to line up, and they were dancing and teaching all the kids to do the dance at the same time. So I'm at the back of the room watching them. So I put my hand up and I went, Miss, can I take part? And she went, sure you can. So I did no more than go straight to the front of it. Now, my youngest son, Henry, was there in this group. So I went straight to the front. And when they were doing Reach for the Stars and all that sort of thing, they'd do one movement to one thing, and then they'd do one movement to the next. And I managed to work it so that I would be one step behind everybody else. So that as everyone was doing it, climbing the mountain and all that sort of stuff, I'd be one thing behind, so that I was completely out of time with everybody else. And the kids around me were laughing their heads off. And when it finished, I turned around to look for my son, and he'd left the group, and there was a wall with a settee by it, and he was laid on the settee looking at the back of the wall because he was so embarrassed by my antics. But I love tormenting kids. That's what they're there for, isn't it? I've always had this thing about it. I can't help myself. No, I'm not extrovert, honestly. I was with a bunch of kids. It's easy when you're with kids. But I would not have done it had my son not been in the room. I just saw a chance to, wind him up a little bit. That's right. You don't have to be an extrovert to do things. You have those moments. You have those moments, and it's all good fun. And my kids, we had a there was a stage where we were doing shows and fates, and I bought a set of 6 trampolines and things. And do you remember the old-fashioned mirror shows with the crazy mirrors? I had one of them, and we were open at an event, and I had a little MP3 player in the cash desk because I played music, and Pat Boone had done a song in 1961 called Johnny Will, and I quite liked it. But for a bit of fun, what I did is set the MP3 player up so that it would only play one song and it would repeat it and repeat it. And this Johnny Will, I put on repeat. And then I got my youngest son to sit in the cash desk and look after it. And I went, don't touch the music, leave it and let it play as it is. So I walked over to the other side, and I had a friend who had a set of Dodgems there, and I was talking to him. He was stood along the front of his Dodgems, and I was sitting talking to him. And I watched my son listen to Johnny Will about 10 times, and he was definitely wanting to turn it over, but he wouldn't. I used to torment my kids to death, and the funny thing is that I do that with all kids. I've always tormented kids, and yet, and I say this with respect to all of you, I might sound as though I come across horrible, but when we were traveling on fairgrounds, when I was in like 21, 22, 23 and so on, kids would come around to my place and knock on the door and go to my wife, can James come out to play? And I'd be in there going, yeah, can I? I used to go out and play with the kids out on the grass, and we'd play football and chase games and all sorts of stuff. And the kids used to come round and ask for me to go out and play with them. And it was really funny because a few years back we went to a wedding, and one of those kids, who is now a wife with a couple of kids of her own, when I used to love it when you used to come on the fairgrounds with us and you used to come out and play with us. Do you remember? So yeah, we did it. I did all of that sort of stuff. I loved winding the kids up and playing with other kids. It was all real good fun. Oh, I always wanted my kids to bring their girlfriends home so that I could torment them and show them video of them when they was little. That was always one of the things I really wanted to do. Good on you, Andy. That's what I'm pleased to see. Like an evil Mr. Wilson. I was an evil Mr. Murphy. I was never evil, but I just like to have a bit of fun and torment the kids. And what I found was that on the fairgrounds, when I used to travel, all the little kids used to come around me all the time, and they'd come and play around me and want to go on my ride and all that sort of stuff. And they'd be coming around and knocking for me to go out and play football on the field and that. Used to do it all the time. Well, it's 8 o'clock. Steve, I know you've got to go because you're off to the Ritz. I will see you next week. We're over the hour. My wife's home from work. I haven't seen her yet. I haven't had no dinner yet, so I've got to go down and sort that out. And I will see all of you next week. As I said, I'm going to be putting these music videos together, and I'm going to do a series of videos talking about these CDs and them records over the back there, and why I bought them, what the memories are, and all that sort of thing. Hi, Jamie. How are you? Good to see you, my friend. Hope all the lights switched on there in Blackpool, are they? I'm waiting for you, Jamie, to do a video walking up and down the front of Blackpool, showing me the lights, because I've not been yet and I've never seen them. So that's my little thing for you to do for me. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to go. Thank you all for being here. It's been brilliant as always. Thank you for your comments and the way you've sort of helped me travel along the road for this last hour. It's been great fun, and I will see you next week. Thanks very much, guys.